presence of the defendant and all counsel, this is the time set to hear objections on the juror questions. The defendant had approximately an hour and a half to review the questions. The state had an hour and 20 minutes to review the questions. Are you prepared to make your objections?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's start. I asked you yesterday if you would identify your objections by the question number. They start at 42. All right, let's hear objections. Who wants to go first?
I'll just list out my objections. And
Okay.
I would object to questions 43, 60.
Okay, hold on. 43, 60.
75, and 90.
75 and 90.
And do you want the reasons, or?
Just
Maybe we can save some time with some of them. 43 and 60 we would agree with.
hold on 1 second. I'm still marking. You're a step ahead of me. All right, so 43, there's no objection? You're both in agreement?
We would object as well, so yes, we're both in agreement.
All right. So we sustain the objection to juror question 43. It will not be asked. All right. Number 60, what's the defense position?
We would also be objecting to that, so we would agree to the state's objection.
All right. I'm going to sustain the objection to juror question number 60. Takes us to 75. There are 3 questions on 75.
But that question, I believe, was prefaced to Detective Flores this night. We would object to Ms. Arias being asked that question.
Yes. So question 75 is not an appropriate question for the defendant, so I will sustain the objection to question 75. Now that takes us to 90.
And
Objection.
we have the intent of objecting as well, so we would obviously stipulate.
Court will sustain the objection to juror question 90. Any other objections from the state to any of the questions?
I have no other objections.
All right. Mr. Nurmi.
Attempt to go in numerical order as best I can. Let's see, we've dealt with 43. Question 50, as to the relevance.
State's position.
I believe that it is relevant. They're talking about financial issues and the defendant's surgical procedure.
All right, I'm going to sustain the objection to question 50 on relevance grounds. Right?
Yes. The next in order being the question 55, drawing the court's attention to part 2, what we've interpreted as part 2 of that question. If there's clarification, we can certainly provide that if we have the question, but
So your objection, there's no objection to the first question, there's an objection to the second and third questions?
no, part 2. Well, maybe if we could approach to just
Yes. To questions 2 and 3 on juror question 55 are overruled. Court will ask both questions. Mr. Nurmi?
question 61.
And your objection?
Is foundation of when the question isn't specific enough.
Overruled. I think that you can inquire about more foundation when you do follow-up. It's clear to me that the reference is the June 2008 trip. Why don't you approach, since you don't have copies of the questions? Objection to question 61 is overruled. I will ask that question. Mr. Nurmi.
Number 89 included.
State's position.
Regarding this issue that was presented, and so I will leave it to your discretion. I do believe that it is appropriate given the evidence that was introduced, but I also understand the 401, 402, and 403 concerns.
I'm going to sustain the objection to question 89 for all of those reasons.
And forgive me, Judge, did we address number 62 yet?
No. All right. Your objection?
The answer necessarily delves into privileged, attorney-client privileged information.
Please approach.
Question 69.
There are 4 questions on number 69.
Number 2, forgive me, Your Honor, number 2.
I think you need to approach so that everyone can actually read the question. All right? It's actually the 3rd question. To be technical, it's actually the 4th because in the 2nd grouping there are 2 questions. So it would be the 4th question. I will preface it by adding, to your knowledge, the objection is overruled. Mr. Narmi.
Number 90.
Judge, you've already.
90 is out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
Correct. Number 97. In my notes is part 2 of 97.
On to approach, counsel. Objection to question 2 on number 97 is overruled. The question will be asked.
Number 74.
74.
I have to note the objectionable part as being part 2 of the question.
Approach again, please. Objection overruled. The question will be asked. Juror question 109, the 2nd question, objection sustained. 7, question number 1, the objection is overruled. The question will be asked. All right, counsel, are there any other objections to these questions? Yes, and I'm going to meet with counsel on that objection. Oh, counsel, one additional matter. The court will see defense counsel in chambers.